Hi, I'm Amy. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a youth activist. And kind of what I was doing in Glasgow. So I went with Emma Jane from Fancy Earth, and travelled over, and we were like part of outside activities. So I think the main focus around all of that for me was kind of pressuring governments, but also holding corporations accountable. Um, and to show that our eyes are on them and calling out the hypocrisy and greenwashing that was surrounding COP, including like if you look at even the UK government who were actually hosting COP, calling themselves climate leaders because of hosting this, really exclusive conference, but then actually being set to approve a new oil and gas field very, very soon, that they've yet to come out across. It is hypocrisy and it is greenwashing, and unless we're there to, call it out, then nobody else will. So I think that was a really big focus with the outside actions this year. And I think my biggest highlight was definitely just meeting other activists and other people and listening to listening to everyone, but especially those who have been most impacted by climate change already. And it was incredible to see not as many as there should have been, but to see a lot of Indigenous leaders as well, and to be able to spend time listening to them in the flesh as well. And I think being with those people was such a highlight because I think I was able to find hope in that like community, and within these people there was so much imagination for a better world, and I think actually worlds, because I think everyone had such different kind of views of the better world that we could create, and I think that there was so much inspiration and hope in that, that we don't have to give up. And as Valerie was saying, we need to kind of we need to be creative. We need to think of outside of what's been handed to us. And I think in terms of what was the most kind of depressing thing that came out of it was the kind of silence that just so many forces try to put on our voices, including hearing again about environmental defenders and the death and violence that they've had to endure in again the front lines, MAPA, most affected people in areas, how dangerous it is for them to be activists, and also just the high police presence. But I think that also, even though it was very like upsetting to see, I think it was also really empowered me and my voice, and just reminded me that we have to keep acting, because so many people don't want us to. And I think in terms of my takeaway and what to do next, I'm actually thinking more about emotions, because I think like there's always this thread of despair and anger and sadness. But really, I've just been reminded of the hope and the joy that we deserve to feel and that we can feel when we're working together. And I think coming home reminded me of how much work there is to be done, because we don't feel that all the time when we're at home. And I think my biggest takeaway that to take home and what to do next is that we cannot compromise in the science, and we can't settle while millions of lives are at stake at the same time that another world is possible. So that's my biggest takeaway. Thank you.